How well are you feeding your body? Our physical health is intricately intertwined with our mental health, never more so than when we consider the food that we're actually eating. The food that we eat provides the fuel to make our body work, yes, but is so much more involved than just that simple fact. Hi, I'm Marianne from One Life to Flourish, and welcome to tonight's episode of Monday Motivation. Are you ready to start building a flourishing life? Tonight we're focusing again on physical health. And in particular, I'm looking at why the quality of the fuel we give our body is so important. In other words, our food. Now, if you know someone who might find this topic particularly interesting, please feel free to invite them over to watch. Just use the button down below somewhere to make sure that they see it. Now, if you're viewing live, please let me know. Just write something in the comments. I'd love to see who's actually here. Now, I remember a series of ads from the 80s that had the tagline, "Oils ain't oils." I don't know if anyone else remembers that. The meaning, of course, being that not all oils are created equal. Now, this is the first thing that we actually need to think about with our food. It's not just a fuel. Even though it is there to give us energy, run our bodies, there's a whole lot more to consider, and particularly around the quality of the food that we're actually putting into our body. Now, we're all aware that we can go and buy food that kind of looks the way it's meant to look, the way it's come off of the tree or out of the ground. And then we can buy foods that don't really look like any of that because they're so highly processed. And this is what I'm actually talking about to start with. So there are actually 4 levels of how processed a food is to be kind of aware of. So the first level is your unprocessed or minimally processed foods. Now, this is the category that we really want to focus on. This is what we call our whole foods. And we're talking about, fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, whole grains, fresh meats, any of those kinds of things. And they can be minimally processed, as in they might be frozen, they might be vacuum sealed, that kind of thing. Basically, they're pretty much as they came from wherever they came from. So then the second level is where those things are actually processed a little bit. So an ingredient is extracted from them. So for example, something like sugar, where you extract the sugar out of the sugar cane and you get the next product. Or maybe some particular oils that are extracted from, like a fruit or a nut, like olive oil. And they might have a minimal amount of preservative. The third level is just called processed foods. And these are foods that are actually created from only 2 or 3 ingredients. So think about some of the ingredient lists you see from things you buy. It doesn't include a lot of things, but it is like your canned veggies, salted nuts and that kind of thing, some preserved meats. Then we get to the 4th level. This is the ultra processed foods. These foods have a large number of ingredients, but a lot of the ingredients are things like artificial colors, dyes, different processing aids, other kinds of additives. So they're not even things that are actually real foods at all. And these are all of those things that don't actually look like food. If you look at them, you wouldn't actually recognize what it is that they've come from because they are so processed. Okay, so I'm sure everyone kind of knows what I'm talking about. So why does it matter? Well, basically, there's some interesting research that suggests that the more food we eat from that ultra category, the more it actually sets off an immune response in the body. So like the body kind of fighting it off. And this is because the body can't actually recognize this as being food, and it thinks it's an invader and it wants to do something about it. And this actually ends up giving us low levels of low energy. So it can really have an impact. All right, next thing to think about with our fuel is our gut. So this is our gastrointestinal tract, but we usually call it our gut. And it's got something like 100 trillion bacteria living in it, which does sound a bit yicky, but actually we need all of that healthy bacteria to actually help our body function in a really amazing way. And how healthy that bacteria is actually affects how we feel, how everything works, how our brain works. There's a lot of research that has gone into how poor diet, in particular that highly processed foods, actually have an impact on the gut, and it's not good. So one of the things that it does is it can actually shrink some of the areas of the brain that are involved in helping us to feel positive emotions. So next we have fiber. Now fiber basically is the non-digestible part of plants, so it only comes from plants. And it actually feeds our gut bacteria amongst other things. So it's only coming from things like fruit, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. And it's really important to eat it, but it's also important to make sure we have enough water. All right, so there are our kind of key things. Let's break it down. What do we need to do? So first of all, make sure that you are trying to have as many, whole foods as you can, not so processed kinds of foods. Make sure that you're eating each day at least 8 fistfuls of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes combined. So you can kind of use the size of your fist to help you see if you're getting to that. And then try and eat, if you can, at least 2 meals a week to start with. Maybe you want to build it up, but at least 2 meals that are entirely plant-based. That's to feed your gut. And of course, each day, try and drink 8 to 10 glasses of water. All right, so they're the kinds of things to get started with. Start gradually if you're a long way from that, because big changes can take a bit of time and a bit of planning. And if you're ready to start on that, make sure that you've got all of the things on hand, all the fresh foods, all of the whole foods. And a good way to start is actually to start swapping out maybe a meat product for an alternative. So an example could be like if you have your spaghetti bolognese, instead of putting mince in it for one meal, try putting in a tin of brown lentils and just replace it. Just make it whole food in that way. So think about how you're fueling your body, and are you keeping your digestive health, your gut health high? And then, because this is such an important part of our overall physical health, what else is happening there? How are you boosting it? Just kind of let me know what you're doing to keep your physical health high. All right, now if you would like another way to start creating positive change in your life, I would recommend my Mind Reiki program. It has been life-changing for the people who've taken part in it. It's over only 6 sessions, and the amount of change you can have is amazing. So I have put together a Mind Reiki Kickstart program that can either be done as a distance program or in person, and it is amazing. So watch out for more details about that. But if you'd like to get details sent straight to you, just put mind in the comments and I'll send you some details. Otherwise, you'll notice in the comments I have put a place to book in for a discovery call where you can see other things that we could perhaps work on. You can also have a link to get to the Happiness Habits Playbook. And otherwise, you can just go over to One Life to Flourish and see other things they're doing, or you're probably on One Life to Flourish at the moment. All right, so thank you for joining me tonight for Monday Motivation. Next week, I am moving on to the next important part of having a flourishing life, which is our mental health. So important, particularly at the moment. So please join me each Monday night at this same time to get some inspiration, to get some tips, and to get some ideas to get moving into your new week. So bye for now. I hope you have a great week.